Hi, this is Alan Rogers, Professor of Business at Vermont Technical College. It's the spring semester of 2017, and I have a cold, so I apologize. I'll try to speak as clearly as possible. This is the course Welcome and Overview for Business 4530 Technical Project Management. If you are taking this course online, this is what the setup looks like for the course Moodle. You should see this graphic up at the top. And what I'd like to do next is cover the course syllabus. This is available on the course Moodle, and it is not only the syllabus but an overall schedule and some information related to software and your project. So let's start with the syllabus. So the course number is 4530, so it's typically a senior level course, although some juniors are taking this course as well. It's offered both online and in the Williston section this spring of 2017. All the work for the online course will be conducted through the course Moodle. There are no synchronous requirements. In other words, there's no time where we specifically need to get together. Although there will be course projects that students may want to get together either virtually or face-to-face. You should expect at least 6 to 8 hours of weekly work for this particular course, and perhaps more when you're learning the MS Project software. The textbook for the course is called An Introduction to Project Management, 5th edition. The cover looks like this, and you can today, which is the 15th of January, you can get used versions for $25. Doesn't matter where you get it, but you should have a textbook. We will be using the textbook. Earlier editions are okay. So the 5th edition, I believe, is the most recent. If you have a 4th edition or third edition, that is fine as well. So if you need to reach me, you can use my email address, arogers@vtc.edu. I'm happy to meet by appointment in my office in Williston, room 416, which is past the library at the end of the building in the 400 building, where other faculty offices are as well. If you email me, please put the course name and section in the subject heading. So it would be Project Management Online, for example. A number of you are in 2 or even 3 courses with me, so if one of you in those courses says, what's the assignment, I'm just going to get back to you and say what course. So we'll be much more efficient if you identify what the course you're referring to is in the subject line. And there's a note there about business email etiquette. So I'm not going to read all of these learning objectives, but essentially we're going to learn about classical, traditional project management. And in doing so, we're using the project management body of knowledge. This is a codified or codified methodology for project management that has been established and distributed by the Project Management Institute. This is kind of the classical music of project management. So it is the most commonly originated format for managing projects. There are more recent formats for project management, and we'll talk about those as well. But basically, it's the formal methods for project management. The grading is 20%. There'll be a midterm. There'll also be a final for 20%. There'll be one case study worth 10%. There'll be a course project with a portfolio that's worth 30%, and then your participation online or in classroom is worth 20%. For online participation, I expect one original posting of at least 300 words and 2 peer postings of 100 words per week. I think you should be probably checking the course Moodle at least 2 or 3 times minimally each week. And it is easy for me to go and look at your participation and see that you haven't been there for 4 or 5 days, which probably is not acceptable. I would think that you should probably check every 2 to 3 days. There will be a portfolio that will be a collection of the documents that we are developing for the course project. There's a sample of a project portfolio that I've put into the course Moodle that you could take a look at. It won't be exactly like that, but that'll give you a sense of the nature of the course project portfolio. Because for the online courses in particular, this is heavily dependent on reasonable access to broadband and also the use of commonly used Microsoft-based or Microsoft Office compatible software. I encourage you to resolve your electronic issues early in the course. I have some formatting here for submittals, so if you want credit for your work, make sure that you have your when you're posting assignments, your last name, the nature of the submittal, and also a date. There's a listing here of student responsibilities, and you should make sure that you're able to agree to those responsibilities. This is the course schedule, and it is an approximate schedule. Depending on how fast we go and other issues, we may get ahead or behind in the schedule, but we have plenty of time in the semester to cover all the topics. What you'll notice is that from a topics perspective, we will be going right through the entire textbook. There are 9 chapters in the textbook, and we'll just be going through them one at a time. You'll also notice that there's some project elements that are going to be due. Let me pause for a moment and talk about what your project is. You'll be placed into project teams, and your project will be to develop a website. And you'll be doing it in parts and portions throughout the semester. And as you develop this particular project, I'll be assigning you specific documentation that's supportive of and in alignment with traditional and classic project management. Those will form the basis of your portfolio. So again, this is an approximate schedule, and it may move around a little bit. You should always check the course Moodle for what are the most current assignments. I'll talk a little bit about project software. So the labs at Vermont Tech have Microsoft Project. And some of you might be familiar with project level software, but essentially they are a combination of database and graphic softwares that allow you to develop tools that help you in project management. So let me just show you where you might find this. They should be in the labs. If you can't find them right away, you'll go to Microsoft Office and you'll find Microsoft Project. I have 2010 at home, but you might find different versions, but they're essentially the same. So this is an example of Microsoft Project, or actually the opening page of Microsoft Project. And what this allows you to do is to develop all sorts of schedules. I'm just going to fill this in for you, for us, and show you what it can do. So essentially, what Microsoft Office does is Microsoft Project does is to take project information and turn it into graphic format. This particular format happens to be a Gantt chart. We can also look at different formats of looking at the same data, calendars, things like that. So you'll need to have access to something that creates these kinds of documents. Microsoft Project is in the labs. I've also identified, and we've used this for a few semesters, something called Project Libre, which can be downloaded. It's freeware, and where Microsoft Project develops these kinds of graphics, Project Libre generates very similar kinds of outputs, and either one is acceptable. although I've discovered that over time Microsoft Project is a little bit more flexible. So if you're online and you're unable to come to labs, you can do all your assignments on Project Libre, and I've identified some YouTube tutorials for you to take a look at. We'll start very slowly with using the software, and then we'll build up to more complex things, but you'll need to be able to generate Gantt charts and network diagrams. So those are the two primary items. So this is an example of network diagram. This is a Gantt chart. And a special kind of Gantt chart is a tracking Gantt. So if you have software, you may use other software if you choose, but you'll be required to generate this kind of documentation. I've identified as of last week, I've identified an older version of this textbook that's available on this particular website in the PDF format. So if it's still there, you're welcome to use it. If not, then you'll have to find another source. There is a really very good textbook that we don't use called Effective Project Management, and as of last week it was available in PDF format. Here I think it's a great additional resource. As you do your portfolio, you may want to tap into that to help you. PMBOK is the basis of classical project management. It stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge, and there's an older version that's available here on this link. It is not required for the course, but you may want to refer to it. I listed here a couple MS Project tutorials, Microsoft Project tutorials, and there are many more on the course, many more in YouTube. So we get to what is the project for the course. As again, you'll be working in project teams. Teams will be assigned on a semi-random basis, meaning that I'll do a first cut and see if anyone has any objections. But I'm going to initially place you into teams. So you may propose a website project. So we'll be using, or I'll be supporting you in Weebly. If you choose to use another website development software, that's fine, but everyone in the team will need to agree to that, only in so much as you'll be sharing the website access. So you'll want to all agree on what to use. Weebly is pretty easy to use, and many of you may have already used it. You may propose a topic for your website. Some people have generated websites for a business, some for a particular event that one of the team members is hosting, for example, a wedding. So when we get closer to your proposal, then I'll give you some more specifics, but it'll need to be of sufficient significance that each team member will need to generate at least 2 pages. In other words, 2 pages of content. So I've given you some examples here. So you can start thinking about that and be able to propose what your thoughts are on the website. If you run out of ideas, then I can try to help you. So just checking back in. This is your course Moodle. You will see down in this section fairly soon your assignments for the first week. You can look up here and get either a Word or PDF version of the course syllabus. And here is a sample of a project management portfolio, which is one of your outputs for this particular course. So I look forward to seeing your work online and chatting with you online. In each week I'll have a questions discussion forum, so if you have any content or topic or assignment questions, you can put them there. And of course you can direct me at arogers@vtc.edu. Please put the course and section in the subject matter. So I look forward to seeing you, and have a great week.